In this video, I am comparing Mavic 2 Pro to Mavic Air 2, and I will be doing a real lifetime review with an actual footage from both of the drones. And by the end of the video, you should clearly know which drone is for you, because we're going to talk about photo and video quality, range and stability, ergonomics, portability, improvement. So we went to different pockets of the city and shot in a different time, during the daytime in particular, and also in sunset, so you could see for your own eyes what is the difference in the image. And here are some of the shots that we shot on these drones. YouTube, my name is Roman, and I hope you like the videos we just saw and it helped you to make a decision on which drone quality image of the camera looks better. And if you did like it, please also like this video before you continue watching, and consider subscribing as I post videos weekly about photo and video gear. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you will never miss a video from me. First things first, let's go through the specs, but I'm sure you already went to the DJI website and took a look for yourself to compare these specs on both of the drones, and I will make it very quick for you. Mavic 2 Pro weighs 970 grams opposed to 570 of the Air 2. Mavic Air 2 has a better flight time of 34 minutes opposed to 31 on the Pro 2. Mavic Air 2 has a better range difference of 1 mile. Pro 2 has a top speed of 72 kilometers an hour opposed to 68 on Air 2. Mavic Pro 2 has a 1-inch sensor opposed to a half-inch on the Mavic Air 2. Mavic Air 2 records 4K 60 where Pro 2 only on 30 frames per second. Also it does 120 megabits per second where Pro 2 only has 100 megabits. Because of the bigger image sensor size, Pro 2 has a better dynamic range and less noise in their images. Mavic Air 2 has a 48 megapixel sensor where a Pro 2 only has a 20 megapixel camera. Mavic Air 2 has a couple new technologies such as Active Track 3 and Air Sense, which we will talk about it later. Mavic Pro 2 has more obstacle avoidance sensors. Mavic Pro 2 almost is twice expensive as the Air 2. Whew, now as we're done with the specs and I got it out of my mind, we can continue on with the video. And I also would like to mention that all the products that I talk about in this video are listed down in the description. So fun fact, my Mavic 2 Pro is my main drone and I had it since the day it came out, and I actually was working a 9-to-5 job and I ordered it during a meeting, so I took off, ordered the drone so it doesn't sell out or anything. I pre-ordered it. I actually also did a video on comparing Mavic Pro 1 versus Pro 2. It is somewhere here. I'm not sure which side it is. I always get it wrong, but feel free to check it out. So as I said, I had a 2 Pro since the day it came out, and I flew it so many times, and I can say that the drone is pretty reliable. I crashed it at least 3 times. I flew in rain a couple times, and I can say it's built like a tank. Now my friend Ryan bought an Air 2 and he was generous enough to land me the drone for some time so I can fly it around and compare to my Pro 2 to see which drone is better, and I hope it's going to help you to actually make up your mind on picking a drone. So my first impression, Air 2 is pretty tiny, and I've also played with Air 1, so I could say that Air 2 is about in the middle of the Air 1 and Pro 2. So let's talk about cameras. First thing first, I would like to mention that the Air 2 has a wider focal length, which is about 24 mm, and Pro 2 is 28 mm, so you will get a narrower field of view and get a more tight shot on the Pro 2 versus wider shot on the Air 2. Also, Air 2 has a fixed aperture of 2.8, where on Pro 2 you can change the aperture from 2.8 to f11, which is helpful because you can have a full manual control of the lens. The Pro 2 camera is made by Hasselblad. It is a 1-inch sensor. It's twice of the size of the Air 2, and as you can see in these videos, in low light conditions the Pro 2 wins by far because there is so much less noise compared to Air 2. Let's take a look at these buildings where it's all grainy from the footage from Air 2 compared to Pro 2, which the image looks way cleaner, and it is shot at the same time, same conditions. But at the same time, Air 2 has a higher megapixel count. If that matters for you, it has 48 megapixel, where Pro 2 has 20 megapixel. To me, it doesn't matter because I post images on Instagram and I actually care more about video specs. But if you need higher resolution images, you'll be able to print higher photos from the drone, and you'll be able to crop in more without losing the quality. Also, like I said, Air 2 does record 4K at 60 frames per second and 120 megabits per second, where Pro 2 only records 4K 30. Before, Phantom 4 was only doing 4K 60, so now Air 2 is also doing that. Let's wait for the train. Now, to me, it doesn't really matter because I wouldn't really slow it down or anything like that. I don't really care about slow motion in drones, but Air 2 has a better slow motion in 1080 and also in 4K having 60 frames per second. Now, having that 1-inch sensor on a Pro 2 gives a lot of advantage. You have a higher dynamic range. It records in 10-bit opposed to 8-bit on Air 2, and therefore you have less noise and better details and highlights and shadows. Now, this is very helpful, like I said, in low light conditions, for example, in sunset or sunrise, but also during the daytime, you'll get more details in the shadows. But with a naked eye, and especially if you post for Instagram, there is not much difference during the daytime. I think to me, the images both look as sharp during the daytime, but the only difference it makes for me is during the low light conditions. Now, I was flying from this location, and it is a busy spot in the city, and as you can see here, there are high buildings, there's a lot of interference. And I can tell you that Pro 2 lost the connection way faster than the Air 2. When I lost the connection here, the image was all blurry and it was just going crazy, and I just returned it to home and it kind of got stuck and then reappeared again. But Air 2 was having a solid signal, so having that bigger remote controller is a bummer, but it gets a better stable signal. So I can tell you that Pro 2 has a good signal, but I always have something. Like, I always have something going on as far as the signal, especially if I fly in the city. It's always gonna give you a lot of interference and stuff like that. But Air 2 was solid. The only thing that I noticed also that the Air 2 takes longer at a takeoff to find the GPS signal. For some reason every time I would fly, the Air 2 would take like good 5 minutes to find the GPS. And it was happening in different locations. So I'm not sure if that's just my case or it was just random scenario. Now also here, when I was flying in a busy area, my Pro 2 actually lost signal for like good 2 minutes. I for real thought I lost it. I was like, that's it, done. And at the same time, I had an Air 2 in the air. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna return the Air 2 and I'm gonna hit return to home on the Pro 2 to see what's happening. And I was like freaking out, I swear. So as I'm returning the Air 2, the Pro 2 is somewhere flying at the same time, and I'm just having 2 controllers in my hands, and it was just crazy. So I get the Air 2 back, it passed like 2 minutes, Pro 2 still has the black screen on my phone, and I'm like, that's it, done, I lost it. And it all of a sudden appears. So from black screen, it appears and it just sits in front of somebody's balcony, which is crazy. So the good thing, the obstacle avoidance system never messed me up so far, so it stopped as soon as connection reappeared, and I was able to take control and fly it back, but that was crazy. And all I'm saying is Air 2 did not have that problem. The connection was solid all the time. Oh yeah, and also about the sensors. The Pro 2 has an extra camera sensor, totaling of 8 camera sensors and 2 infrared sensors on both of the drones. So the Air 2 has 7 camera sensors and 2 infrared sensors. And DJI claims to have 6.2 miles air transmission signal compared to 5 miles of the Pro 2. As far as improvements, since an Air 2 is a newer drone, they implemented this new feature technology. It's called AirSense. Oh my god, it is so cool. So now the Air 2 using the new app, and when you go to GPS, you can actually see every plane, helicopter or small plane on the map. So you're aware of your surroundings. As you are flying, you can pull up the GPS and you'll see a little icon of the map. It's so cool. So the Pro 2 doesn't have that because it's using a different app. And the last thing, portability. Yeah, Air 2 is supposed to be air and smaller. But to be honest, it doesn't really make sense because you get this bigger controller, but at the same time, I like the controller design because antennas are built in and they pull up just like that. So that's kind of cool, and again, the air controller has a better signal, so I would rather get a bigger controller with a better signal. And I like the new design of the antennas pulling up like that, and you just stick the phone like this. It's been always hectic to connect the phone to my remote on the Pro 2 at the bottom of the controller and all these cables, and I just didn't like the design. Oh yeah, and also the Pro 2 has a little LCD screen on the remote controller, which is cool because it gives you lots of information, the distance and stuff like that. But honestly, I never use it because you have the phone in front of you also, and all that information is right there. And last important thing was the Mavic 2 Pro. I've had an issue where the battery would swell, and I had two DJI batteries, and they're expensive, $140 each, and they would literally become like a bubble, and therefore they would not fit back to a drone. So you will put it in and it starts swelling, and that's very dangerous because it basically can just pop out in the middle of flight and you're done. Your drone is gone. And it's dangerous too because the battery can explode in the air as you fly. It can explode in the plane, everywhere. It's risky, dangerous business. None of the other drones that I had this issue, but I was able to fix this with the DJI even though the batteries were out of warranty. And I made a video about it. You can click here to check it out and see it for yourself. My behind the scenes story of dealing with DJI customer support and fixing this issue. And it is a well-known issue because I'm sure they're aware of this because it's all over the internet. So to conclude, which drone is for you? Well, it depends. The biggest factor here is the price, which I haven't mentioned yet. The Pro 2 is $1,500 at the moment, where the Air 2 is $799. It's almost half of the price. So to me, I would go with the Pro 2 because I need that larger sensor. I need that better quality. I need that better dynamic range, the details, the higher end look, cleaner image. And I don't need the higher resolution camera, and I don't need 4K 60 or anything like that. I am pretty happy with 4K 24 or 30, and I'm happy with my 20 megapixel shots. But I say if you're just amateur and buying a drone for travel, you're not doing this professionally, you're just gonna be flying drones here and there once a month or maybe even less often, I would go with the Air 2 100%. It's smaller, it's more compact for the trips, it is way less money, you get almost identical image during the daytime, and you'll still get a pretty dang good image during the low light. I forgot to mention the one feature that Air 2 has that the Pro 2 doesn't have, which is the HDR, and gets more details in the shadows and highlights, like in this video that I'm showing you right now. Well, that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope it's gonna help you to make a decision of picking one of these drones. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at roman.d.theexplorer. Well, I'm just gonna put it right here because... Also, comment below if you have any questions about the drones. I'd love to hear your adventure stories of flying your drones. And till the next time, peace!